Thank you for coming. Welcome to our speech presentation. We are, first of all, going to make this not stuffy and bankerish, I promise. Okay? So first of all, what I want to do is just give you a little background on both Liz and myself. We both work at Cedar Rapids Bank and Trust, but this conference is about resiliency. In the past, it's been about vulnerability, and I really feel like I've had a lot of people say, "You like yoga and you're a banker?" Yes. I also meditate. I also love to sage my house. Like, I love all the good stuff. So I just want you to understand that Liz and I try and take that, I would say, intimidation out of bankers, because one of the most important things, as especially a business owner, is sharing your vulnerability in your business ideas with somebody who's going to listen and intently listen and want to know what your hopes and dreams are. So first, I'm going to let Liz tell you about herself. I'm not her work wife, unfortunately. She has another one. She'll tell you about her. And then I'll tell you a little bit about myself.
Yes. I'm Liz Myres. I work at CRBT.
You gotta talk.
Teresa. Oh, I don't need a microphone. I'm really loud anyway. Oh, okay, sure, I can take that. So I'm Liz Myres. I work at CRBT with Teresa. We work as kind of right and left hands. I've been in banking for 12 years this year. Outside of banking, I do have a work wife who works at the bank. She brings me coffee every Wednesday, so she's fabulous. At home, half my personality is dogs, and then the other half is mostly Star Wars and spooky stuff. So that's me.
So I wanted to share a little bit today with you why I wanted to talk about banking. I think one of the biggest things is banking sounds super boring. It's about checking accounts, about money. Like Kendra said, who likes talking about money, because a lot of people don't like talking about it. And I just wanted to break that barrier of the intimidation of it. But most of all, what are some questions that maybe you have as far as business owners or even personally, but also this is really not rocket science. And sometimes just you being vulnerable and asking questions is really important for us to be able to answer those for you. So I want just to share a little bit about myself. I'm super passionate about helping people. I'm also an Enneagram 3. Where's Nicole? Which means I'm always busy and always doing something. So I have two little grandkids that are 2 and 6, and they're super adorable and fun. I have 2 dogs. I have 2 cats. I just took yoga teacher training, and so I am just newly a certified yoga instructor. And thus, yes, I do yoga, and I'm a banker. So on a daily basis, I'm a banker. But as far as what I do for a living is I work with small businesses generally for the loan side of it. Liz works generally with the deposit side or the checking accounts. But my goal is to truly help people, not just to be here to, yes, you get a loan, no, you don't get a loan. But if you need a loan for your business, how do we get you there? What are some of the steps that you can take? And so that's really what today's presentation is about. So we're going to start out with,
I'm sorry, I'm short. I had to move it.
Yeah, it's all your fault. It's all your fault I have to talk into a microphone. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about why a banker should be a partner, and what qualities you should look for in a banker. First of all, honesty is the number one thing. Is your banker going to say, "Oh, that's just a really great idea. I'll let you know if we can do this for you." Also, honesty as far as letting you know genuinely what you need to do to get your business to where it needs to be at. I always tell people the best thing I can do for you is to be honest. If you don't qualify for whatever you're looking for right now, here are your steps to get there. And then somebody who was willing to give you resources and give you guidance. There are actually a lot of resources out there for business owners, and I'll go through some of those here in a little bit, and they're absolutely free. And I've also owned a business in the past, and I didn't realize that there was these resources out there. So I think they're also important to know. Online lenders versus community bankers, the two big things. So I recently worked with a gal who has been lending or getting loans off of Square. I don't have Square, so I didn't realize. She came to me to get a line of credit. She's like, I've been using the Square loan, and I said, oh, what's the interest rate? They don't tell you that stuff when you sign up for it. They take money out of your Square account every day. So she goes, well, I think it's 13-14% interest. And I thought, oh, that's not horrible. It's like a credit card. We did some research. It's a 14% fee. So if you borrow $10,000, it's a fee of 14%. So the other thing that Square does not do is sit down with you and give you resources, get to know your business. And so just be aware that when you do online loans or lending, it's super easy. You can do it at midnight. You can get it tomorrow. But the cost really is a lot for a small business. So be aware of those. And so just knowing the difference between online lenders, they do charge fees, they don't tell you about them, versus a community banker who is going to take a little bit more time. I'm trying not to talk louder over that person, so I feel like I'm whispering. Okay. Just to know that a community banker is going to be more involved in getting to know your business and your long-term success. Business checking accounts. I'm going to let Liz enlighten you on all the options and what a business checking account and why that's different than a personal checking account.
Figure I won't move this time so we don't run into each other as we move around. So you have consumer accounts and then you also have commercial accounts. So when you're starting a business, you're going to want to have an actual business checking account for a multitude of reasons. Part of it is because the regulations are a little bit different. So you want to make sure that the regulations federally, statewide, that type of thing, are running correctly. The other part associated with that is you might have other ancillary products that you need to be able to run through your business that the personal accounts don't have the ability to do. So something like ACH, if you're paying employees payroll and you want to be able to direct deposit their account into their accounts. If you've got business bill pay, that works a little bit different than personal bill pay. You also want to be able to have products like positive pay for fraud protection, because unfortunately fraud is very prevalent. Businesses do not have the same length of time that a personal account would have to dispute that fraud. So business accounts, if this will kind of tell you the difference here, on the personal side, you usually have something like 45 days after your most recent statement to let the bank know about fraud so that we can go ahead and dispute that for you. Whereas with businesses, you really only have about one business day for most fraud. There's some exceptions, but you really only have about one business day. So you want to be checking your accounts every single day. And with a business account, you can add somebody like your office admin, your husband, if you've got a daughter who's working for you, a son, that type of thing. You can add them so that they have access to view your account without being an actual signer, which is what's really nice. So then they can view it online for you if you're not the person who's looking at it every single day. You can also add something like positive pay, which helps take the liability out of that, where what that does is you're entering in your information. So if you've got checks that you're issuing, you're putting it out into positive pay saying, yes, these are the checks I issued. It went to this person. So then it would flag for you to review if something doesn't match. Same thing with ACH, where you can have the information in there so that you can review it every single day. So then it takes the liability out, because then you're within that one business day no matter what. So you can send it back if something were to happen. You can also get business-sized checks on the business. So you can print it off so that you've got those 3 on a page ones where you got the perforation and everything, so that you've got that. You can also get, I may have lost my microphone. I speak loud. Let me know when it comes back on so that I don't yell at you. So you can get those business-sized checks so that you can get all the information you need on it, versus the personal-sized ones. You don't get a whole lot of space to put what the remittance is and everything. And then you can also set up things like ACH and online banking. For a business account, if you have just opened a business account, you now need to actually go get the account at the bank. What you're going to want to walk in the door with is your EIN number. We want that. You want to make sure you are filed with the Secretary of State if you are something like an LLC or a corporation. If you are a sole proprietor, it depends whether you need to file with the Secretary of State, whether your name is in the name of the DBA, or if it's not, if your name is in it. So if you are Teresa Jensen doing business as Copywriting LLC, you're going to want to file that on the Secretary of State. If it is Teresa Jensen, copywriter, then you don't need to file. So that's one of the things that's really nice about having a banker, that you can walk in the door and then you can ask me, what do I need to do to be able to get this business account with you? We're going to also ask you about the beneficial ownership form. I don't know if anybody's had to fill one of those out before. They can be a little bit tricky. They were new as of 2018, so they've been around for a little while now. With that form, we can help you fill that out. But anybody who owns 25% or more of the entity, we are going to be asking you about. So just be aware of that so you don't have any surprises. Oh, let's see if do you want me to take this one or you want to? Okay, so I will take this one here. So, or at least part of it. So keeping your business and personal separated, it can be a big deal. It depends on, let me back this up a little bit. 90% of the time, you want to keep them separate. Unless you're something like a sole proprietorship, where you are filing your taxes together, you would want to keep them separate for a lot of reasons, including if you need to go get a loan or if you're selling your business, because if you don't have them separated, it's really hard to show the difference between the two. And now you're trying to separate them out. So you'll want to keep them separate so that if you do need to go get a loan when you're filing your taxes, you can differentiate the difference between the two. I'm going to let you take the piercing the corporate veil one, though, because that was the section that you've got. So hold on. I'm going to scooch this way and tell me if you can still see so that when we migrate back, I don't step around her. Can you still see? Am I Vanna Whiting okay? Yeah. Okay. Love it.
Piercing the corporate veil. Doesn't that sound exciting?
Or
The heck is that? Ultimately, what that means is if you don't keep your personal and your business accounts separate, that the court can disregard your business as actually a business. If you're intermingling the two of them, you now become personally liable for your business. So there's also liability involved with keeping your business personal separate. Do you want me to talk louder? Okay. Do you want me to repeat that, or is that like good? Okay. All right. Let's talk about setting up business accounts. You can have one account for everything for your business, or you can have multiple accounts. I have this book that I've read. It's called Profit First, and some people in here probably have read this. I know. It's a great book. But what this book talks about is setting up multiple accounts for your business and the benefits of that. So if you have one account for your business, throughout the year, you're going to have high balance days that everybody's paid all their bills. You haven't paid any of your bills. And you're like, wow, my business is killing it. I am going to go on a vacation. I am going to go buy a new car. And then all of a sudden, you go a month later and now you've paid your bills and you have things coming due and your business is going through a slow month. And you're like, oh, that wasn't right. Okay, so if you have one account, that's what's going to happen. You're going to make some business decisions that maybe you shouldn't have. That is very common in small businesses that I talk to. I've had people come in and say, my business is doing great. Look at my checking account. Well, we can't just base your business plan on just one day's checking account. So having multiple accounts can benefit you, and here's how. You can save for your taxes in a separate account. You put that money over here and you don't touch it. So when you do your taxes next year, you've got that money. That's a great feeling and relieves a ton of stress. The other thing that you can do is put money that's pure profit into an account. You can see that your business is making money. This book talks about that. And it talks really about putting profit before everything else and how to grow that. So I highly recommend reading this book. You don't have to read it from front to back. You can start in the middle if you want. It's a great book. If you have employees, you can have one account for your employees' wages. It is just a really great way to separate your money into different pockets, so to speak, so that you're not spending some of your expenses unnecessarily or thinking that you have more money than you really do, especially for those taxes. And just know that when you set up your accounts, most banks will let you nickname them so you can call them really whatever you want. But this book gives you ideas on what to use. You can call it an operating account, taxes, my fun money, my vacation, whatever you want to do. But really, if you have 3 or 4 of them, that's a great way to start. Don't have 8 or 9 or 10 of them, because now you've got accounts to balance. And if you have an accountant or a bookkeeper, they have all of these accounts to balance. So make sure it makes sense to your business. But I highly recommend this, and I have recommended this recently, probably in the last few months, to some business owners, and even one that I thought really probably would have been saving for their taxes, and they hadn't been. And I just thought, gosh, why am I not telling everybody this? It seems simple, but as a business owner, you have so many things to think about that just maybe one more thing to not think about is putting that money aside for taxes, wages, whatever. So I highly recommend this book. This book also talks, I'm just going to read some of the chapters because it'll just give you an idea of what it's about. Setting up profit first for your business, assessing the health of your business, allocating percentages. So it does walk you through an exercise, like how much do I put in each account for my taxes, for my payroll. It will walk you through that for your business. Destroying your debt. We all would love to do that. Find money within your business. The other one that I love is, it must be under the section of finding money in your businesses, but going through your business to find out what are some unnecessary expenses that I have that I really could possibly maybe find some cheaper, less expensive options so that you can kind of see your profit margin expand.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Okay,
We're pretty casual here.
so if we, let's say we do those things, and we put as much money as we can in there, how do you compare to the personal one, where maybe the personal one gets interest? I didn't know if any of the business ones get interest, or if that's just the personal accounts.
I can take that one for you.
Yep.
So it depends. So business accounts typically are going to get, I don't want to say less interest, but they're not going to be as interest bearing on the checking side as a personal account. You could open a money market or a savings account on the business side to then get your interest on it. And it would depend on your financial institution and what their rates are of whether you should do a money market versus a savings account. But you can absolutely do that to get your interest. You can also, some of the checking accounts will have some interest, not usually super high on the business accounts. And then there's other checking accounts that we call a analyzed account, that what it does is instead of earning interest, it gets what it'll do is it'll offset your fees associated with it. So you get an earnings credit instead of actual interest. So if you're paying $100 a month for whatever your services are with your bank, the earnings credit can help offset those fees. So if you get a $50 earnings credit that month, then you only pay $50 in fees. Does that help? Perfect. I'll move it because you're taller than me. Just a little bit.
What's that? Mike? Michaelowitz. Michael. Any other questions? Okay, so you're probably thinking, you know what? I really just want to do my business. This is good. This is enough. I'll open a business checking. I'm good. I really don't want to think about my finances. They give me a headache. I just want to do my business and look. It's working out, Teresa. That's enough, right? Right? Okay. Well, financial statements. That's a fun topic, right? So let's go on a trip. Let's go to Colorado and go for a hike. Do we have to plan? Do we have any planning to do? To take time off work? Drive there? What are we going to drive there? Oh, gas for the vehicle. Who's driving? Who's going with me? Where am I staying? There's some big decisions to make to get to Colorado. And then once we get there, I want to go, I don't know, thrifting, go eat at a great brewery, go hiking. Where are you going to do that? So we spend a lot of time planning a 1 week trip. Do you spend that much time planning your business? We spend a lot of time planning a trip. Do you spend that much time on your livelihood? So think about that for a moment. And that is a financial statement, is a roadmap for you to use to get to where you'd like to go. And so remember that where I am today is great. I love my business. I love taking care of my clients, but I need a roadmap on how to get here. And you don't have to do it all yourself. There's resources. And I want you to think of finding a banker or a business coach that can help you get from here to here that does it in a way that feels good for you. There's all kinds out there, but we have that intimidation of it's going to cost me a ton of money. I don't like financial statements. I don't want the reality of what's on that financial statement. I just don't want to really know what that is. Another thing that I want you to think about is when you look at your numbers, don't feel. Just look at your numbers and be curious about them. Because do I want that to go up? Do I need that number to go up if I want to travel? Maybe this is really all I need and I want to work less and have more time in my day. So be curious when you look at numbers. I think as women, we're so judgmental of ourselves that we think, oh, my friend, she made way more money than this and she's living a perfect life. And I mean, this is all I made last year. This is just not acceptable. I need to work more hours. We have to stop judging ourselves and deciding where we want to go and what that looks like for us. And in order to do that, we have to get off the hamster wheel a little bit. We need to take some time. I think meditating would be a good way to start that. A yoga class, maybe. A trip to Colorado in the mountains. But being intentional about putting on your calendar an hour or 2 hours to go sit in a quiet coffee shop with a journal, and maybe we do a vision board, cut out some pictures, and I want to do whatever. I'm in the lifestyle or my time of life. I like to travel because I talk about Colorado and going places, but that can look different in different times of your life. So just know as a business owner that you have to take that time away from where you're at. Or you have an 8 to 5 job and you don't want to do this forever because somebody's making money off of what you do every day. And I can make that money. So maybe you need to take some time away on a weekend or a Sunday morning to go sit somewhere and think about, okay, this is what I want to do and I want to get there. These are some tools to get you there. So maybe you feel a little better about a financial statement, maybe not. So it's called a profit and loss. Again, loss. Who wants to hear that word? Profit just means your revenue. Loss just means your expenses. If a banker or accountant says, give me your profit and loss, this is just your statement of the income and the expenses. And then also know what that means is sometimes this always gets me when people are like, I own a business and my revenue is $5 million a year. What were your expenses? If they were $5.5 million, you shouldn't be bragging. So I just always feel that you should, when people say they have revenue of a certain amount, it really is what your net income is. And in this example, this company made $400,000 in revenue, but their expenses were $390,000. This business made $10,000 last year. Again, good or bad, doesn't matter. Who knows? Because we don't know what those were. But just know that that's what the end of the day that is. And if you're looking to borrow money, that $10,000 is what pays your loan back. And so if that number is a negative and you want to go get a loan to expand, that's where you need some help and some planning. We'll talk about those tools. So this is a profit and loss statement, a very basic profit and loss statement. And Vanna White here will tell us about that. This company made in the year of 2024 $177,000, and they had $176,000 in expenses, very simple expenses. This is how easy a profit and loss can look. So you could actually just take an Excel spreadsheet yourself and go, okay, I made this much money and here's my expenses. Here's what I netted at the end of the year. And then I did another one that this company lost money last year. So let's think of this from a personal standpoint. A person who has a corporate job, they have a W-2, they make $60,000 a year. Their car, their house, their utilities is $70,000 a year. We all know that math in our head. They're going to have to borrow money to live off of credit cards. And one of two things is going to happen. They're going to continue that until the bank or their creditors come and take everything away. Or they need to get another job. They need to make more money or spend less. So the same is true with a business. It can't sustain if that bottom number is negative year over year, unless they've got somebody in their family giving them money every year to pay for those, but that's not likely. So just know that if your business, if you don't know what that number is, how do you know that you're going to continue year after year? What I want to do is help you understand that a small business, like measuring your numbers, just like a person measures their numbers when they have like a hourly job. Okay? Questions? Nobody's got their eyes glossed over. This is cool. Oh, I already did that. Okay, where are we at in time? We have plenty of time. Okay, we're going to talk about business plans. There's another fun word, right? A business plan is a vision board. That's all it is. It's a vision board. This is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to get there. And so, where do you start on a business plan? Who's going to give me the tools to do that boring project? So, I want to show you. Let's see if I can eloquently move from to my business plan. Okay, so if you go to the website, sba.gov, the SBA is a division of the government, Small Business Administration, and they offer actually quite a few different things. And this is not getting cut from the budget, just so you know. Confirmed that actually yesterday. The SBA does have a template for a business plan. And I built one. Yeah, that wasn't super eloquent. But there's no surprise that this is not my. So this is a business plan. And what I want you to do is if you decide that, you know what, someday I do want to open a business, or maybe I have a business and I want to change my business or grow my business. A business plan is a working document. It is not a one-time thing that you take to a bank. It is something that you can create and you can make it look whatever you want it to look like. But the content is what's important, because you need to know how that whole plan is going to look. And you're going to lay awake at night thinking about this, aren't you? You're like, oh my gosh, you know what else I should do? I should also offer this service. And then I want my office to look like this. And then my logo is going to look like this. But where did all of that go? And this is that living document that you can put that on. So this is a business plan that you can call it whatever you want. And you can keep adding things to this. And then someday you're going to have this really cool plan when you are super tired of your corporate job. You're going to be like, here it is. This is what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it. Or in couple years down the road, you own your business and you're ready to make some changes because your kids are growing and gone or whatever the case is, you've got your ideas somewhere. So dream and put it in here. And I'm going to encourage you and push you to do this because I talk to so many women that want to do something different. And a lot of times it's opening a business, and it doesn't have to be quitting your job or changing your current business. It could be opening a yoga studio, something, I'm just saying that, just something that, because I like yoga, or a travel agency or whatever that case. So it could be something just part-time on the side. So just remember, this is a plan, a vision board, whatever you want it to be, but it's a place to put your dreams down. So you can go here and you can, I put resilience consulting because the word of the day is resiliency. I'm going to own it. I'm going to open it today, by the way. But it just talks about an executive summary. You can erase all that stuff if you want to, because who wants the word executive in your business plan? I don't. I should have taken that out. But this is the template. Okay. What is your product? What is it that you are going to do? Who are your customers going to be? So these are some things to start thinking about that's going to actually prompt your brain to think about who you want to do business with. Okay, so I'm going to be a resilient coach, and I want women to be my customers, my clients. I want people like me that have been, I'm an empty nester. I want to provide coaching to them to help them with accountability in their businesses. I'm putting this on paper, and that's what this is. And the future of your company, where are you going to start that at? Well, maybe I'll start with a few of my friends, and then by the end of next year, I want to have 25 clients. So it's really just kind of like, oh, this is also making it sound real in our head, because our brains don't know the difference between reality and a dream sometimes. So if we are thinking there like, oh, I can see myself with 20, I could do this. I could really do this. So the next page is a mission statement. Let's change that to my values. What are my values? Well, I love authenticity. I love futuristic things. I love honesty. What are your values? And what does that mean to your business? Well, that means I'm probably not going to work with people who don't have those types of values. Who are you going to go into business with? Well, it's going to start with you. The legal structure, we can leave that blank for now. You'll go talk to your banker about that. Okay, let's start doing a little research. Who else has the same business? Okay, you know what? Nobody does. Nobody has this exact business because nobody has you. And so this is where you get to start believing in yourself. What are you going to do? I'm going to be a small business coach, and I'm going to have, these are my customers. And so now you're going to start to narrow down, gosh, you know what? I did meet a couple people that would actually probably work well with me. What are some things that I can do better than other businesses that do similar things? Not better, different. Because as women, we like to support each other in business. So it's not always about doing something better, but you offer something different than others do. And what are you going to offer? What's your product, service? What are you going to charge for it? How many different things and you can start, this can be a 3-page list if you want to, and you can narrow that down. But don't make it too complicated. Start simple. You can always add, or you can put, I'm going to start with these 2 things and I'm going to eventually do these 10 things. And then do some research and development and find out, this is where you're putting an actual dollar to what you're offering. Okay, so there are other businesses like this. Maybe they're in Des Moines, maybe they're in Davenport, but here's what they charge. Oh, I could charge that for my service. You can start seeing this all come together. So can you kind of start to see now where a business plan is really just putting it all together instead of a big scary piece of paper with letters on it? Okay, cool. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Anybody in here written a business plan that they'd like to talk about? Do you? My logo will be purple and pink. And then we can keep talking about more things, growth, strategy, how you're going to communicate with who you are going to be working with. And so remember, these are the things that you're thinking about when you have some downtime. And that is what you want to be putting in here. So you're getting your whole dream on paper. Easy, right? Did that take a little bit of fear, icky out of what a business plan is? Not really. Yeah, kinda. Good question. That's a really great question. I started without numbers because I feel like not everybody loves numbers. So I have some information for you. Let me get that PowerPoint back up. Okay, where the numbers come in is there's many local resources, but these two are absolutely free, and I refer a ton of people to them. One of them is called the Small Business Development Center. What they'll do, and we have a local representative here, and really, he's great. But he's going to sit you down, and you are going to go through all of the numbers. And you're going to show him, okay, I'm going to have a resilient coaching business and I'm going to have 5 clients to start out with. And this is what this is going to look like. And he's going to ask all these questions and he's going to start filling in these projections. And it's now going to show real live numbers at the bottom. And it's going to go 3 years out. And this is where you're going to see those real numbers and what that looks like. And it is so cool. Every time somebody does this exercise, they come in and they're like, I can do this. Like, look at this is, I've had a gal that's owned her business for 10 years and she just did this. She said that was the best thing that she's done in 10 years for her business. So it just really reminds me how important it is to look at those numbers in a detailed fashion. Start small, but when you're ready to really sit down and dig into those numbers and see some realistic numbers, he's also going to show you all those expenses you forgot about. Maybe different insurances you need, but he has access to all of that information for all industries. So it's SBDC. It's free. And we have one consultant here in town, but he does, if he gets too busy, he does have other consultants that he does bring in. The other resource is SCORE Mentors. And SCORE, SCORE, just like SCORE. And they are people in our community who have been business owners that mentor new business owners. They also can help you with those projections and do that similar exercise. In addition, they can provide mentorship to you as your business changes. And some of the stuff they provide is just incredible to me. I've had a client that went to work with a SCORE mentor that was not doing well, mental health wise, and also income wise. They were struggling. The two go hand in hand. And within 6 months, that SCORE mentor had met with him twice a month, and he went in and did a bunch of things. It was amazing. So I'm a big fan of those SCORE mentors as well. And again, you can Google it, SCORE. It's on the SBA because they are funded through the SBA. But these are people that have owned businesses, and this is a free service that they offer. The cool thing is the few that I know, they love to share their failures, which is really kind of crazy. Because we really learn more from our failures than we do our successes sometimes. And for someone to be vulnerable and talk about that, it's pretty cool. So those are 2 financial pieces you can add to that business plan. So good question. Thank you for asking that. I talked a lot. Okay, does anybody have questions, comments? No? Hi, Brianna.
I'll share that the financial projections content that you just did, those are really, really helpful. I'm one of the people that dives into those because I have a million ideas all the time. I want to start every business. So they're not only really helpful to see like what you could do realistically based on those numbers and assumptions in it, but they also will like they sit me down. Because sometimes I have this great idea and I go plug it into create financial projections and I go, oh, I'm gonna be broke. This is not let me put this idea on the shelf as a hobby once I'm rich, right? So I also just highly recommend that you use the resource that she provided because it can really help you understand how successful it could be or help you understand like this idea is gonna be fun after I retire, but right now I have to pay. So just want to co-sign that one.
Good comment. Thank you. Okay, so some key takeaways. I want everybody in this room to know that there are bankers out there that you can partner with, and find somebody who you can sit down and have a real conversation with that really wants to understand your business, because they are out there and they're not always easy to find, but they are out there. Treat your business like a business. Separate your personal and business finances. Understand what you have for finances and remember to keep those emotions out of it so you can make logical decisions with your business. And use a business plan, a vision board, whatever that is, to help make your dreams come to life. I think that's all we have. Liz, do you have anything to add to it?
No, I think that just about covers it. The only other thing, what was that?
I guess she does have more.
I always have more. The other thing I was going to say is if you have small stuff or a situation where you're looking at your financials and you're trying to put the logic in it and not just how you feel about it, you can always walk in the door and come talk to one of us, your banker, and we can look at it and help you think logically about it too, or think outside the box. Because even if we at the bank don't offer something, so if you're trying to get paid a particular way, if we don't necessarily offer it, we probably know somebody who does. And so we can send you in the right direction so you don't spend hours, days, whatever, looking for something that we readily have available for you. So if you have those types of things, come in, see us. At the very least, we can send you in the right direction.
Good. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming, but most of all, Rena and Kendra for putting this day together. I've been to this 8 times and it's always an amazing day. So thank you. And enjoy the rest of your day.